Good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. Hope everyone is well rested and ready to go. Jay, how you doing? H, how are you? Okay, it is the 19th of March. It's unbelievable, isn't it? I think it's officially the first day of spring tomorrow. And I've been out in my garden this morning. It's beautiful outside. Nice and warm. What is it at the moment? Temperature at the moment is about 15 degrees, which is quite pleasant, actually, considering what it's been like. Mo, how you doing? Akitri, how you doing? So, what we had this morning, not a lot of excitement. Are we coming down? I know cryptos are taking a bit of a dump, haven't they? Let me have a look. What's the scores on the doors now? I think Bitcoin had dropped, 63, just over 60. So it's dropped about $10,000. Bitcoin has. It's all part of it, I think. I'm not concerned. We've had that initial push up. We're bound to get some pullbacks. I mean, if we look at the last bull run, let me have a look. We had that first push up, didn't we? That first initial pull up. Then we came back about 50% and then went up again a bit higher. So be interesting to see. But what with all these spot ETFs and all that, who knows where Bitcoin may get this year. But a bit of a pullback is healthy, isn't it? So let's have a look. We did get down to around about $62,000, which from 74, I suppose it's a bit scary to some people, but it's all part of it, isn't it? Let's have a little look. How's my stuff doing? Okay. I did pick up a little bit of Solana at $170. That's up $13. So I'm trying to get in. Whenever we get a dump on Solana, I'm trying to get into it a little bit. So we'll see how we get on anyway. Let's have a look. Okay, I got to change your name, bud. Levros Trading. Okay, it's close enough. I haven't heard of that one. Indy, good morning. How you doing? Okay, so what are we doing at the moment, day by day? I think really we're just going sideways at the moment. We've not been up to all-time highs for a week or two, week and a half, something like that, but what's the time? What time we got? Okay, so we've got about a minute and a half. In fact, let's get that up. I like having a quick glance. I like these widgets, I do. I can have a quick glance and find out what time it is. Perfect. Otherwise, you've got to try and zoom into the top of the chart there, haven't you? Okay, so we got about just under a minute anyway, so we started off overnight going a little bit sideways, then we had the couple of legs down. It seemed to bottom here and we're getting a bit of a spike in the channel. So what are we going to do when we get to this area? So NQ, what's that doing? Similar picture, a little bit of sideways, couple of legs, and we seem so just, it's not really telling us a great deal at the moment, really, is it? We got no news, so some medium impact news, but that's done and dusted, so nothing that's going to affect us. Did you trade off stream yesterday? Yes, I did actually. Later on, I came back later on, but I've got it back again today. I have to try and do this. So what I did is when I carried on with one of my evaluations. I lost one of them, but I just have to keep trying. That's all I can do. So I did. I was doing a little bit of research last night about things like pushing. You know, when you take a loss, before you make a decision to just do whatever you want to do, push yourself away from your table. And do things like some square breathing, that sort of thing. Just allow yourself a couple of minutes before you make any decisions. So I'm going to give that a go. Okay, market is officially open, so let's see how we get on today. But yeah, if I take a loss, first thing I do is push myself away from my screen just for a couple of minutes, do some square breathing before I make any decisions on whatever to do. Okay, so we got a spike in channel. You may call that a bit of an overshoot. We have got some support, a bit of congestion along here, so it's quite likely we're hitting something there. So let's see how we got. Let's see how we get on. Market is open anyway. So on the NQ, we've got this little channel with a break. See, I seem to get myself into a really good solid place, taking good solid trades. And then when I seem to get stung, that's when my trade choice starts to take a bit of a dive. I need to get back to those obvious trades. It is a constant battle. It takes time to continuously work at it until the stage where it becomes much more normal. Good morning to you, Kanan. How you doing? So, overshoot. What are we doing? Is this a bit of a reversal? Or... Yeah, I need to get back to just quality trade choices. It's not really giving us much this morning, is it? The trouble is, with that overshoot, we could come down. Or, I mean, it depends whether you look at that as an overshoot. I'm just trying to look at the NQ. It's not really on the NQ, is it? It actually doesn't fit too bad. Trouble is, I mean, you could adjust that ever so slightly down to, say, maybe there and squeeze it in. But I think sometimes if you get what looks like an overshoot and you try and adjust your chart to make it fit, I think sometimes you're asking for trouble. We'll have a look. So if let's see what happens anyway. So if we get a break of this, ordinarily you'd be looking to make a new high, but with that overshoot, it could do a bunch of things. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone gets trapped. Here. So it doesn't look like an overshoot on the NQ. That doesn't mean. So let's just put it there and just see if we can see what it looks like. Yeah. What do you do? Fits perfectly as a little. Let's just put it back because now it looks like there's. Yeah. Okay. I had a feeling that if this is an overshoot, it may trap some longs. So let's just put it back. So we pushed above the EMA. We went a little bit sideways there and we pushed up and then it triggered and came down and stopped that out. So be interesting to see now whether it goes up again or whether it comes down now and the overshoot results in a bit of a reversal. I think that's the trouble. If you've got that as an uptrend and you're looking to go long, whether you're getting there, I mean, I wouldn't normally get in there anyway, but whether you think it's okay, we're pushing up now. We've just come off the EMA. Let's take that trade with the, with the thoughts about going long, and it triggers you and stops you out. This market can be brutal sometimes. I mean, if you haven't got half a clue what you're doing, you're just going to get murdered on it. And I spent so much of my time doing that. So, see, with a reversal, with an overshoot, a lot of the times I'll see sometimes it'll correct and then push up again. Sometimes it'll do this, it'll push up, make a new high and drop like a stone. Other times it'll make an attempt to go higher and then drop. Sometimes it'll literally come down, have a break, come down, have a break, come down, and it works into a channel. So at the moment it's hard to trade really because it's not really giving us much away. We're well under the EMA on the NQ. Just looking at the 4,000 tick chart as well. 4,000 tick chart doesn't look like a break. It's so hard to tell, isn't it? But could just be a couple of legs, or it could be going slow. It's just hard to tell at the moment. It's not really giving us much. Let's have a look. So, if I'm wrong, there's no trading next Friday and Monday. We've got the Easter bank holiday weekend in the UK, and I'm sure someone said on the stream end of last week that it's the same holiday. It's just not showing up. I've got the... Oh, yes, it is. Oh, of course it is. Yeah, Good Friday. There you go. So, okay, yeah. So, I'm away that weekend. I'm away on the Friday and the Monday, so Good Friday. Oh, okay. I for some reason, I didn't think it was a holiday in the UK, and then a couple of you guys said it was. So, 28th. Yeah, okay. So, 29th is a Friday. Look on my calendar. Sorry about that. Where's my calendar? Let's have a look here. So yeah, 29 is a Friday and it's Monday the 1st. Okay, so I go away there. I'm away Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I come back on the Monday, so I'll be back in trading. So yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's all right. I didn't think you had Easter for some reason, but why wouldn't you? Okay, so this looks like we're coming down now. So let me just adjust this. We got what looks like a downtrend on the NQ. So what are we doing? See, this could be just a correction and then we may move back up. We're coming down to retest the lows of the day on the NQ. Correction. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's not really giving us much at the moment, is it? Just got my payout approved. First one for me on my way to... Oh, good for you, mate. Good on you, H. Congratulations. Oh, H. Yeah, of course that's H. We call you H, don't we? Yeah. Oh, congratulations. It's nice to get your first one. It's nice to get some reward. You're welcome, mate. Congratulations. It is nice. It's a nice feeling to get your first payment. I know Sam 5 Trader had his last payment, I think. So yeah, it is nice to get one. It is nice to get one. I got to say though, when I got mine, I thought, yeah, I've cracked it. This is it. I'm going to make a fortune. You tend to think the struggle's over then, but it ain't. But you are on the way anyway, so that's the good thing anyway. So get some trades this morning already. Come back yesterday. Get some trades. Oh no, I came back yesterday. I mentioned earlier I came back yesterday. I traded on an evaluation straight after. Lost one of them. and took a couple of trades. I came back later in the evening. I just find it so hard not to. So I was doing a bit of research last night, as I mentioned, about pushing your way from your machine and doing some square breathing before you make any decision. Because usually when you sort of jump back in, you make a decision quick without giving yourself time to think about it. So I'm just going to give that a whirl. Give it a try, but it is really hard. So let me just look at this. On the NQ at the moment, it looks like we're getting a couple of legs down. So we've got a touch. So we got that overshoot. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look. Can't take anything here just yet, really. I'd like a couple of attempts, really, before I think about it. My way to my first Apex t-shirt. I got mine. Had it a couple of weeks ago. It's in the wash now. I wore it over the weekend. It's got the bull on it. Well, sort of like the outline of it, with ATF in one of the top. There, it's all right actually. It's certainly all right for free. Well, that way, I can't complain. I did consider getting a mug, but I've already got a couple of trading mugs which family tends to buy you. But I hadn't had a t-shirt. Fits nice. I bought extra muscular. I didn't. Let's have a look at this. So we got a channel down here with a break. It's hard to say this. We got a touch, and it fits nice at the back. So after this overshoot, we made an attempt to go higher, and it does look like we're working down. So whether we're going to have a leg or a leg, it's hard to say. But I want a couple of pushes up really before I think about going short. Let me have a look. So that's a possibility. Okay, so we've got a channel down, one attempt to go higher. My only slight concern with taking a short here with a second entry short is on the NQ. We've already had a channel down with a break and a new low, so what I tend to like is 2 pushes down to a new low. So if we get a little bit of a pullback on the NQ, we may get a second entry short here. Whether we will or not, I don't know. Who knows? Tick above there. Okay, so we've ticked above that bullish bar there. So if we can get a bearish bar here, there may be a second entry short on the NQ. I want to see how far it goes though. It's gone a bit too far for me, I think. Leg down, second entry short, triggered above that bullish bar and then coming down bearish. I think that's something I'd like to take. So if we react off this, I may look for a lower high. See what happens. I'd like to trigger above there. Okay, that's interesting. So if we can get a lower high. I definitely like that. It's just a bit stemmy for me, and generally I keep away from that first one. Okay, it's quite a nice looking setup on the NQ there. We've had a break and a new low. It looks like two nice legs back to the NQ there. Well, that's if it finishes right. It's probably not going to now. No, it wasn't. It's all right. I thought that one on the NQ was going to finish nice and bearish. That wouldn't have been a bad looking trade there. Leg and a leg. But what I don't like about this is this. We came down after this break. We didn't make a new low. We made a matching low, and we came down again, and we seem to stall on this line, which tells me I think we're going to have a break here. I mean, when we came down to the bottom, we had two nice legs up, came down beautifully. We've had two legs up, but I don't like where it came down and stopped here and here. So for me, I'd expect a break of this channel here. And I certainly won't be taking a bearish bar there. It kind of is a failure, and it may work, but that for me is giving me a few alarm bells. I could be completely wrong. I just don't like that. I've been trapped in places like that. Let's see what happens when this triggers. Just don't like that for some reason. Sometimes it's hard to put your finger on exactly why. It's struggling to get through there for some reason, so whether that's losing momentum or what, I don't know. But I think that to me looks a bit of a trap. I'd expect a break here, which is why I wouldn't take that. So, okay, that was a good decision there. I've been stuck in these areas before when they do that. And don't get me wrong, we're in a downtrend. It's confirmed beautifully there. Don't get me wrong, it's a lovely failure, but this I don't like. I've been stuck in these areas before. So if you'd have taken that a tick below, you wouldn't have got a point because you've got to push through. So that just had alarm bells written all over it. So anybody take that lower high, did they? So, I mean, that confirmed the trend. We touched twice here, 3 beautiful times here. Clearly 2 legs back. Trapping some longs with a lower high. I get why some would have taken that, but for me, the fact that it's... When it came down here, it bounced here, and when it came down again, it bounced, so that's telling me it's struggling. You took the failed breakout, did you? The failed breakout? Scale 6 ticks. I got you. See, I think initially this push up, it's kind of a, what do they call that? It's kind of like a bull flag, isn't it? Not a bull flag, what do they call it? Descending something or other, I don't know. Bull flags can do that, come down a bit and then push out. I don't know. Just lost that second entry short. Which one did you take? That one there? Yeah, just watch them. I've been caught out with them. When it starts to do that, yeah, I thought there'd be a few get stuck there. Just be careful then when it does that. Whenever it starts to do that, next time it comes around, it comes a bit higher and then a bit higher. Once it does that 3 times, just be a bit careful there, which is why I decided to leave that. I mean, I get why you'd have taken it. We've got 3 beautiful touches there. It's touching, I mean, it's touching perfect on the top, perfect on the bottom. But once it started doing that for me, that looked like a trap. I've been caught in areas like that before. And I think that's how you learn when you get trapped and you notice them. I had it drawn as a mini here. See, for me, how long does it take to get paid to be approved? Let me think. It's the last day today, isn't it? Or is it last day tomorrow? Last day tomorrow. So when I've had payments, it depends. If you put it in early, you can get it a couple of days after. But you should hear something. Well, every time I've been paid, I've heard something within a day or two of the closing day. And the closing day is the 20th. So I'd expect... depends. If you put it in on the 15th, the first day, you might have heard by now. Someone else said they've already heard. So I won't worry about it. You'll hear something. Sometimes it varies. It really does. Even with payouts, sometimes I've had them on bang on the day. Sometimes I've had a week earlier. So they, you know. Yeah, don't you worry about it, mate. Stu, good on you for your payment anyway. Congrats. So we could push up now, strangely enough. You're welcome, mate. You're welcome. Nice to get a payment. Nice to finally have money coming in instead of it constantly going out. So this kind of looks like a bull flag. Sometimes they go sideways, sometimes they go down slightly. I'm tending to try and look at patterns now because sometimes, you know, if you've got something positive looking and it is a pattern as well, it might just be that extra little bit of confidence. Where's that go? want to get myself one of these. Yeah, just looking at this pattern quickly. Let's put it over there. We've gone up like, excuse me. We've pushed up like this in that push, and then we're coming down, and then we shoot up. So that pattern there, bullish bull flag. Yeah, it's a bull flag. Sometimes they'll go sideways like that, but that's what that's doing there. We had that push up and it's coming down. We had 2 touches down, and we made a few attempts. So yeah, this looks like a bull flag. I might print some of those out, actually, some of those cheap patterns, because they can help you sometimes. Yes, I'm not taking anything long here. I can tell it's a pattern, but I wouldn't trade it as a pattern. I'd use it as a pattern just to help me stay out of a trade. Not necessary to get in, because I don't know them well enough. In fact, it might be too much of an angle for that. I don't know. I mean, it may just be a break, and it may come down and make a new low. It's hard to say, really. I'm not really a pattern trader. But, why you not trade NQ? Yesterday chart was better compared to. So it's a good question, actually. I started putting the NQ on here with the option to start trading it as well as the ES. I mean, it makes sense that if if one has a setup and another one doesn't, then it may be an option to trade them both. But what I found it really hard to get used to the difference in point system. I kind of know what I'm risking here, and I kind of know it's a lot more simple. 8 ticks, 2 points, but there's a lot more ticks and points in the NQ. And I found it hard to try and work out what I was risking on a trade, you know what I mean? So, and what I found is I kind of like the fact that it gave me a second opinion as to what this was doing. But I might start trading it on a sim just to get a bit of a feel for it. But because I haven't had much experience trading it, I'm so used to the ES. I've been trading the ES now for nearly 3 years. So I kind of not know how it works. But, I'm not quite sure about the point system. But perhaps I should just make a bit of an effort to understand it a bit. I know it is popular. I think some of the streamers, more of the streamers trade it. I know Alpine trades it, and I know Nutty trades it. And I think who's the other one? Joe, Trader Joe. I think he trades both. I think, but I think he trades it as well. So Maybe I should get used to it, have a go at it. But it's very hard to look at this and just know what you're risking very quickly. But when I'm moving a signal bar, I just, I can tell what it is with a quick glance there. But there's so many more ticks and points within these marked areas. It's very hard to work out what I'm risking. Does that make sense? And if so, if you've got any ways of simplifying it to work it out, by all means, let me know. If there is a way of simplifying it so I can quickly get to grips with what I'm risking, then by all means, give me a shout. Because it would be nice to have the option to trade them both. See, we're clearly slowly working up. My only slight concern is if we have a break of this channel, it comes down, so I don't really want to go into long gear. Yeah, it looks like a bull flag, and bull flags generally break out to the upside, but I'm not confident in them enough to trade them. I still want 40 ticks. It's $200 risk, 40 ticks. Is that on trading? Is that per contract, is it? 40 ticks. Is that per contract? Right, okay, so that's quite a bit, isn't it? So that last bar there was 50 ticks. So what's the average at the moment here? Let me have a look tick-wise. ATR, is that 13 points? It's not ticks. Or is it ticks? No, it can't be ticks. How many ticks at a point? How many ticks at a point? Yes, if I was trading one contract and I took a risk on that bar, I'd be risking about $250, which is quite a lot for one contract. Yeah, you'd have to sort of go onto micros, wouldn't you? So that's the bit I don't fully understand. If I use that as my signal bar, it's 57 ticks, which is what, $250, $235, $250, something like that. 400 tick on the NQ using the same rules. Take profit 20 ticks. Yeah, that's interesting. That Rodian, how you doing? The past month, I have completely switched. Have you really? Interesting. After years of ES and FedEx, FTAX, more trades in the EU session, in the Euro session, and I'm usually by the New York Open. Interesting. Done by the New York. Interesting. Rodian, what tick chart? Do you trade a tick chart or do you trade a minute chart, bud? I'm not sure whether 400 tick chart's going to be too quick for me, is it? Let's have a little look on one of my spare screens. MQ 400 tick charts. 4 ticks, $1.20. What time frame do you trade, Rodian? 2000 tick, 1500 tick, or what? Yeah, I'm just looking at the 500 tick chart now, and it's going like a blooming rocket. That might be a bit manly for me. So 4 ticks, 1 point. So you'd be trading quite a low time frame, wouldn't you, bud? I think. You too. Okay, you two. Both let me know, Rodian and Indy. Let me know what tick chart you're trading, or whether you're trading a minute chart or 2 minutes or whatever. Let me know what time frame you're trading. Trouble is with this 15 tick one, they look quite risky. These are, to be fair. I mean, one contract, I'll be risking about $250. Mind you, it's the equivalent of trading 2 contracts on the ES, I suppose, isn't it? I mean, I could certainly trade this on a sim just for a month or two just to get a feel for it. 1 minute chart, 150 tick chart. So 150 tick chart, or is that 1500 tick chart? 5 minute chart too. Yeah. You use 400 as well, mostly in queue game with 5 contracts. Yeah, see, it's such a variation, isn't it? Some say 400, some say 1500. Some say 1 minute, some say 5 minute. Where the hell did you start? So you trade on the 1 minute chart, Rodian, do you? I think Nutty trades on the 2 minute chart, doesn't he? Yeah, 400 tick chart. This looks really quick. And would you have time to get in? You'd have to literally use the buy and the sell button, wouldn't you? 5 to 12 ticks, not points. A 40 tick stop loss. I see that's quite a big risk. So 40 ticks to an average of less than 10. So you're risking 4 to make 1. Yeah, you'd have to really know what you're doing, wouldn't you? How do you get that extra draw option on the chart? This here. This is from Mac's website. This is Mac at priceactiontrading.com. And this comes free, is it? I mean, if you have looked at him or whatever, it's $125 a year to be part of his. Yeah, I did recover from yesterday. Yeah, Rodian, no, 150 ticks. This is mostly for the. Oh, okay, right, okay. So EU session is obviously a lot quieter, isn't it? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, sorry, Nutty. Where is he? Where are you, Nut? He trades. I think he trades the 2 minutes. 2 minute. Where is he? Where is he? Does he trade the 2 minute? Yeah, he does. Nutty Bar Trading, he's called. Nutty Bar Trading. I don't know what strategy he uses. I got no idea. He doesn't trade sort of max style or price action or anything like that, I don't think. I haven't found the right tick chart yet. Yeah. Well, from what Max says, you can trade any time frame. Price action works the same. So I think you've got to try and pick one that's maybe not too quick for you or something. You know, risk to reward is awful, but the win rate is 9% plus. Yeah. Okay. I only work on NQ 150 chart for EU session. Yeah, it's going to be a lot quieter. That makes sense. I switched to 500 tick chart, 1 contract, 30-40 ticks. That's an unusual name. That is that Loic by any chance? Are you a new face? Welcome anyway, if you are. So 150 before. So okay. So the European time 150 makes sense. It's a lot quieter. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. And then 500 tick chart. Let's have a look at the 500 tick chart. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to have a play around with them on a sim, aren't I? And oh, you're from France. Oh, excellent. We got another one in from France. That sounds a bit posh, from France. Thomas, yeah, excellent. Oh, welcome anyway. Nice to have some neighbours. You're in Australia. I know you're in Australia, Rodian. We're all jealous of you. So did you get Loic? Did I get your name wrong? We are neighbours. Yeah, excellent. Excellent. Okay, so you'll probably want to be trading some of the EU session. It's better for our sort of time zone, really, isn't it? Unless you like lions, in which case you like the ES and the NQ. That's welcome. It's always nice to have some new faces. Some people sit in the background and concentrate on trading, and other people, are having a little bit of a chit chat. NQ is much less noisy than the ES. Interesting. Yeah, in fact, I might have a chat on the Facebook group later and just get a feel for how many people are trading the NQ, either in place of the ES or as well, and what average time frame they trade in. But I don't suppose it really matters. It's just getting used to the point system, really, isn't it? I think obviously the smaller the time frame, the sort of the lesser the risk, the less moving the bars, really. The larger the time frame. Sharp moves, it drives me nuts. The trouble is, the smaller the time frame, the quicker it moves, and I don't know, sometimes you're going to have time to put orders in, market orders in. Trouble is, the faster it moves, the more chance you're going to get kicked out of market orders. So I suppose you'd have to sort of buy. You'd be clicking the buy and sell button. Right, it's hard going at the moment. It's not really giving much. It's a bit choppy and a bit unpredictable. So on the NQ, there is a possible second entry long. My only slight concern is that looks like a bit of an overshoot, so it could trigger you. So I'm probably going to have a look. It's certainly a little bit cleaner on the NQ today, that's for certain. It's a little bit more choppier. All this bit here is a little bit more unpredictable. It's a bit more straightforward there. We've got a channel down with a break new low, and we're moving up in a channel here. So there is a second entry long there, but it's an inside bar, so I'm just not sure about this. I'm just not a fan of what I'm seeing here at the moment. Could sting you, that, see. See, Rhodian, you could trade Asian time, couldn't you? You would think the Asian time would be very similar to the Euro time, really. That would be more like your time frame, wouldn't it? I think, we're quite lucky here, aren't we? I could trade sort of more Euro time from sort of 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, which isn't too bad, and then I could trade, sort of US time zone. Well, that's Eurasia as well. Yeah, I mean, there is something for everything. I mean, you can trade things like the Nikkei. That's more Asian time. There are different things you can. But obviously, things like the ES and the NQ are just massive markets anyway. So, I think there's a lot more sort of liquidity flowing through those. There is generally something for everyone, I think, isn't it? I don't know. I kind of like the hours I work. Sort of from 2 to, well, it's 1:30 at the moment, market's open, because the US have jumped forward an hour, but we catch up in a week on Sunday, so we'll get back to 2:30 UK time for me, which I kind of like. But yeah, I mean, if I trade sort of the European area, from sort of, there's not really much of it. I mean, really, let's say I trade from around about sort of 8 o'clock to sort of 12:30, say 1 o'clock. That's it. There's not a massive amount of volume, so it'd be like watching paint dry, changing the trade and the two things. But if you went down the 500 tick chart, you get 4 times the amount of price action, which is a little bit better. But obviously, then going for things like 2 points is going to be a lot tougher, isn't it? You're going to have to go for sort of shorter. But I suppose in one sense, you would just up your contract size, really, and then lower your points profit, and you still get this sort of similar result. You have to get up at 6:30 trade. Yeah, see, it is early for you, Laughter, isn't it? You're on the sort of west coast, aren't you? So there is a bit of a difference. But I suppose some of your US guys could trade the sort of Asian markets. That would sort of like be maybe late afternoon, early evening for you guys. But I don't know whether you'll get the same amount of volume. Nikkei hard, right? Yeah. So you really have to trade that on a lower time frame, but I don't know. I much prefer the ability to trade in the afternoon, so I don't have to necessarily get up. Okay, so let's have a look at the NQ at the moment. So we've got this channel working up with an overshoot, and we've come back. There's a failure there. We've trapped maybe some longs, trying to push higher, and we're coming down for maybe another leg. So maybe we're just going to get a correction and continue high. It's hard to say at the moment. I don't know what the ES is doing. It's just a bit confusing. Maybe it's more sideways. It's always a possibility, but I don't know. It's a bit messy, really. Buggered by ridiculous threads, yeah. That's the trouble, really, isn't it? You've got to take that consideration. Kate Middleton, what is the big news? I don't know, actually. I haven't looked at that news today. I know she was in hospital recently with some abdominal surgery. But I've not heard anything. Kate Middleton and Prince William spotted shopping. That's probably the best. That's probably the news, I think. I finally lose PAs more by my mistakes, like wrong contracts, rhythmic issues, rather than my trading lately. Yeah, it is concerning, which is why I've got this policy now that as soon as I get above the $2,600, I'm going to take a payment and then reduce it to one contract and then let it ride its pay for itself then. So technically I'm trading free money. 120, but I'm gonna, yeah, you take it easy, Rodian. That is pretty late, isn't it? I haven't had a huge amount of problems with rhythmic, but the problems I have were quite drastic. The one I had, I didn't think you could hold up a position overnight, but my position, I could not close it all day. And I watched it on and off all day, and I could not close that position. I tried absolutely everything. I couldn't close that position. So I watched it till the end of the day when the market closes for its hour, and I thought Apex obviously said that they will close a position if you accidentally leave it open. But the position never closed, and an hour later when the market reopened, the position was still live. Then, for an odd reason, I was able to close it straight away. But fortunately, it was a bit of a holiday, a short day, and the market didn't move within a range of any more than about 4 points. and I was about 4 points open at the close, and it gapped down about 3 points. So by the time I got out of it, I was about 3/4 of a point up. But it is pretty scary, and trading on a few PAs is scary enough. I can't imagine having 20 PAs at risk when something goes wrong, because I think Apex are pretty good, but I've heard when they tend to get a sort of a blanket outage and everyone's affected, they tend to reset everyone's accounts to the following day, the previous day, sorry, and they say any profits you've made you get to keep. So it can work out all right. But I think if it happens on a smaller scale, more of an individual based, I've heard people saying they say it's not down to them. So sometimes they'll come forward and say, yeah, we'll sort everyone's accounts out. But I've always had the same opinion. If you sell someone a package and you dictate to them this is the software that you have to use to make it work, then as far as I'm concerned, you need to stand by that software. Okay, so we've had this leg up off the lows, and we've had 1-2 legs back. So let's have a little look at this. So we've had, let me just get rid of this a minute. Remove. Okay, so we've had these a little bit sideways. Then we've had 2 legs down with a break and a new low. So pushing up, we've sort of had 1 attempt to go low. So let me just drop this in here. So we've had 1 attempt to go lower, and this is a second attempt to go lower. So we just clean this up a bit. So we seem to be kind of ranging. Whether it is or not, I don't know. But 1-2 attempts to go lower. So there is a possible higher low here, but my slight concern is that this picture's a bit iffy. I don't know whether we've made an attempt to go higher after this, another attempt to go higher. Now maybe we're coming down. I don't really know at the moment. There is a possibility of a larger downtrend on the NQ. Yeah, there is. So for that reason, I'm not thinking about. Yeah, we've got a channel on the NQ. It looks like an overshoot, and it looks like we're in a little downtrend now. So whether that will continue or not, I don't know. But just because the NQ looks like we're in a downtrend, I'm not taking a higher low off these bottoms, because it might come to the EMA and then come down. So I'm just sitting out of this at the moment. It's a little bit unclear as to whether we're ranging, but I'm not getting involved in a higher low here. One, it's a big ass bar. Tick above, tick below, you're risking nearly 3 points. So well over 3 points, 3.25 points. So I'm just staying out of this at the moment, because this does look like a downtrend on the NQ. That's what I like. I have a second opinion. I got conflicting. This looks like it's a bit rangy. We're maybe pushing up to the tops. The NQ looks like we're in a downtrend, but the NQ looks more reliable to me at the moment. That looks like a nice downtrend. Whereas this is a bit, can we trade account when payment is approved? Once it says approved, you can trade the account. Once it's approved, doesn't matter whether you blow the account immediately after, you can trade. That's what I've heard dozens of times. Having said that, I would tend to wait to take the trade until the amount has been removed for the account. When I get approved for a payment, I tend to not want to take any risks with it. But I have heard it from Daryl and many others. As soon as it says approved, then you're free to trade it. But I tend to it's just a personal thing, or call it a paranoia thing. Excuse me a sec. Okay. Just give me two. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Sorry about that. I've got my daughter off not well at the moment. How the hell can a 15-year-old not fry an egg? My expertise were okay. So I was looking at this nice channel here with a break. I was hoping we were going to get a couple of attempts, one attempt, a second attempt with the planner going lower. Let me have a look at this. Are we starting a bit of a downtrend here? It's possible. I'm not sure. It's possible, but I don't know. I was hoping when we had this, we'd get 2 attempts to push up and look for a short, and then if we looking to go short here, I'll see if I got an option to trade this. So I'm not even convinced we are in a range here. Maybe we are. I'm not convinced this is a channel at the moment. Rather just focus on the smaller stuff. Quick question, Fred. Your computer system, is it a quick system? Is it quite a powerful system? Because I remember Daryl Martin did a video about a year or so ago about testing your computer for, to see how powerful it was. There was a bit of software you could download, and it sort of rated it on a scale, and it was a video he did about making sure your computer's powerful enough to be able to deal with things, so you don't get any type of lag or you don't get any problems. So it'd be interesting to find out. See if I can find that video actually, because it's a good read actually. It's a good watch rather. No, I can't find the video now. Yeah, it is a bit, mate. You're not wrong. We've come off the bottom here, so is it? Well, it's certainly rangy, isn't it? In all honesty. I like the way that's triggered that bull bar, that high or low there. Yeah, Ranger. Yeah, you haven't got a lot of room to manoeuvre there, really, have you? path. That's what I'm looking for. So I think there's a possibility. Could do that. $22.5. We've had this leg up. We've made 2 attempts to go lower. Or 2 clear legs down to go lower. So I think, based on these type of patterns, that's where I think price is likely to go. Day before FOMC, generally, yeah, they are, aren't they? I mean, considering markets officially been open, so like an hour and a quarter, there's very little volume really. There's not much. I mean, this is where the market officially opened, and we've just had that. So maybe it is just 2 attempts, and I think this is probably where that's going. It's almost like a W pattern, isn't it? Box. Let's see if my prediction is right. So far, so good. I think the way that ends wonky. There we go. Oh, I'm so looking forward to getting a weekend away. I am. Next weekend. So, got this channel down with a break in a new low. So, So tempting sometimes to take these, but whenever you take these, they've got a habit of having a break. Got a habit of triggering you and breaking. Two fun cash accounts. I think that's a good idea, actually, mate. I think that's a good idea. Every single person I've ever talked to that has their own accounts tends to trade them a lot safer. So I think that's a good idea. You just don't get problems with, any software issues or anything like that, or rhythmic issues. So I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea to fund your own account and let that grow, as well as taking, trying to take money out of PAs as well. It's nice to have the both, but I think ultimately, moving on to your own funded accounts, I think is a good idea. But for me, I need to sort of sew up these dealing with losses before I start putting money into my own accounts. I need to be able to deal with it properly. There is sort of a second entry long there, but it's a double top, it's a triple top. I just ain't getting involved in there, really. Might rock it up, but it's just a bit risky. I think there's a good chance this is going to get up to this level, I think. The trouble is, it is a bit sideways as well. It's not the most convincing range, but I think it is. So there's always that possibility this could come back in. Now, this is a pattern we see all the time, a push up, and we get usually 1, 2 attempts or 1, 2, 3 attempts, and then it has sort of like a mirror image. But trouble is, when it's choppy like this, it can be a bit unpredictable. So, I mean, everyone might be thinking, oh, yeah, let's get into a long, and it might trigger, then come back into the range. So you never quite know. So this is a time where I'm just sitting tight. Unless we get two lovely legs down here, testing this in a higher low, then otherwise I'm just going to sit tight here because you can get stuck. It is frustrating when you sit in, you've got the patience of a saint and you decide to get in because you think you're going to miss a move and the market just punishes you. It is frustrating. And, compared to what this market was like a couple of years ago, there's just nowhere near the amount of setups. Why that is, I don't really know. But I spoke to other traders that say it's not as good as it was a couple of years ago, a few years ago, and that might be the option to add a second chart. Like I say, the NQ, and maybe trade that as well. You got two different charts, you've 100% chance of. You've doubled your chance of getting a setup for the day. Trouble is, as much as I think I know where this is going, I can't take a trade unless I get a setup. When you only have your tick one tick or your stop one tick below a signal bar, you've got no room for mistakes. So unless it's a good strong setup where other traders are going to get involved, you just got to stay out, otherwise it'll just eat you up. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick few-minute break. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. It's a bit hard to trade at the moment, so I'm just going to top myself up with a nice cup of tea. I'll be back about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay. Got so hard trading today. Ah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, tough day so far. It's just, I know what I think. We got these couple, we had this little bit of sideways stuff overnight. Then we had a couple of legs down. We pushed up. We seem to be going sideways. It's like we've had a leg up, 2 attempts to go lower, and it looks to me like we're getting another leg up, maybe towards the top or somewhere up here. I would have guessed. All the times it does this, pushes up and makes multiple attempts to go, to test the lows, and but you just don't know. Especially when it's sideways, sometimes it just doesn't follow its normal course. It's not much clear on the NQ really. I mean, the channels are playing out a bit neater. Like we got a channel down, break, new high, channel break, new high by a tick or another tick there, leg down, break, new low, leg up, break, eventually new high, channel up, break, new high. So it's everything's playing out, but it's hard to tell what's likely to happen next. There's definitely some sort of resistance up there. It seems like so many days of the week are like this now. Just hard to read. They just don't give you much. Clearly just going sideways. We've been sort of riding close to the top of the all-time highs for a week or so now. Oh, lovely. God, I hate it when it's this slow. That's interesting. We got a touch, a couple of touches there. Let's just remove that. So a leg, 2 attempts to go lower and another leg. Let's see if it does get up there. It took a long and forward tick chat NQ2 legs down to support. Went into the range, can't believe I got it. 2 ticks my stop loss. When you say it got it, you mean you won the trade, did you? It went 2 ticks from your stop loss and then you won the trade, is that what you mean? I don't know what it is lately. If you get into a bad trade, the second you get into a trade, it automatically starts to reverse on you. It does make you wonder sometimes whether you're being watched. It doesn't matter what you do. You can close your eyes and hit the button and guarantee the second you get in, it starts to go against you. 2 ticks from your stop loss. Yeah, it is a bit unnerving when that happens. Quick question for you longer serving traders. Traders who've been maybe doing it 5-6 years and above. Does that ever become normal, losing a trade or a trade go against you? Does it just become like a normal job and it doesn't bother you after time? What's your opinions on that? When you start, I mean, I've been trading coming up 3.5 years, so I consider myself as still quite new. Chris, it doesn't know. You still don't like taking a loss, no? I did read somewhere it's about being comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, isn't it? I'm assuming you get used to it to a degree. I mean, it's nowhere near what it's like when you first get into it, because obviously, when you first start trading, you got the revenge trading, you can't accept losses, and at some point, obviously, you have to accept losses. I hate loss, but I don't move my stop loss anymore. I did before, yeah. See, ultimately, once you've been trading long enough and you build up enough skills, you can make money. But it's being super strict with when you take losses, that the fact that you don't let it affect you. And if you do let it affect you, you have to try and get away from the screen. But, you never quite know. Does it ever get... I'm assuming it gets easier. I find sometimes when I'm in a trade, it's a bit scary and it's a bit stressful. It's always there. Just have to manage it as best possible. Yeah. I mean, no one likes losing money, do we? No one likes to lose money. I mean, at the end of the day, you could earn large amounts of money in trading if it was that easy. Everyone would be doing it. And I suppose there's a reason why, because it is tough and it is mentally challenging. Season Vectron, but I almost want to trade to move against me, so I can add it to it. Yeah. Chase. Yeah, you hear so many stories, don't you? I remember listening to Buck Trading the Zone. He said when you can do it and you can accept losses, trading becomes easy. And I kind of thought, does it? Does it ever really become easy? Mac's been trading for 28 years. It'd be interesting to find out his opinion. Does it bother him in the slightest losses, or does he just get on with it? Or does he not worry about it? It'd be nice to get an opinion. I might email him. Just ask him, does it get easy? How do you feel about it now? If you take a loss, you just move on and forget it? Or does it stay with you for a bit? I tend to find it stays with you until you get your money back. Brooks adds to drawdown. Do you know, I learned something else the other day that I didn't know. You know, when they say when you're on a P8, your drawdown stops at 5,100. It doesn't. It can move above 5,100. It only stops at 5,100 when your balance gets to 2,600. But it can follow you up. One of my accounts that got blown the other day had $586 still in that account, but it still blew. I didn't realise that. I didn't think the drawdown could move above $5,100. It can. I was quite surprised. Takes time to learn that you recover. Yeah, I mean, we all sort of know in the cold light of day that you can recover from losses. At the end of the day, I mean, if let's say I took a loss today and I walked away for the day, if I came back tomorrow and I made that loss up and then did another trade, I'm over it automatically, aren't I? Because I've got my money back and more. The problem with Mark Douglas is you'll have to write in those books. You never became a profitable trader. Yeah, I don't really know. But I suppose some people can be good at the psychological side of it, but can't necessarily trade. The key is to walk away. Yeah, it is, isn't it? And once you can get used to walking away, you know when you come back. Because we all know when we've revenge traded, we come back the following day and you wouldn't have done it. If you could get away from that chart for the rest of the day, you wouldn't do it. So I suppose as your skill level gets better, I mean, do you always feel like you're it's having confidence in your trading ability because there's so much failure, it's very hard to believe in yourself as a good trader because there is so much sort of failure involved, isn't it? I mean, you know, if you work on a building site and you're a carpenter, if you've been doing it 5 years, you're confident, you know what you're doing. You turn up every day, you do it, you're confident, you know exactly what you're doing. Everything's fine. But with trading, it's very different because as a carpenter, if you're on site, you know on a Friday you're going to get your wages, whereas it doesn't work that way. So it's to what degree you do get some sort of ease about it. Or whether it's always there, but it's manageable and it doesn't affect you. But I found, I know my wife and daughter said they dread me coming down sometime because they can just see me in a grumpy mood and a down mood. And I wouldn't like to know that will be there forever. But I think if you can manage your risk properly, you're never going to be down enough to cause you any real problems. And that's the problem with these. That's the issue with these prop firms, because we're not, you know, although I got 2,500 drawdown, I'm not risking 2,500. I'm only risking the price of an evaluation and a PA. And you kind of know that, which is why you increase your risk to 1 or 2 contracts. Whereas ordinarily, you know, if you sort of jumped in and you had $2,000 of your own money, you wouldn't risk the same because you've got $2,000 to risk. As opposed to a PA account, all you've really risked is the price of an evaluation and a PA. So that's the trouble with PA accounts. You're not risking as much, and I think that probably why we take so many risks, because every person I spoke to said they don't risk their own personal account the same as they do a PA account. So that there has to be something in it. And Nick, while you're shaving, after nicking yourself while shaving, you don't get pissed off and slice your throat. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I think really, if you're risking enough to cause you panic when you lose it, I think the simple answer is you're risking too much, really. I mean, if we're honest now, I'm trading 2 contracts on one of these and 1 contract on the other 2 accounts. Now, if I reduced all that risk to 2 or 3 micros, there's no chance, really, I'm going to go on tilt really, is there? If I'm only risking 10, 20, if I'm risking $20 on a trade, that's not going to send me on tilt. But the trouble is, we know when you're only risking that amount, it's going to take such a lot longer to build accounts. And that's why, people tend to get impatient. I mean, if you keep your max risk to say 2 to 3%, it should never be enough. You take it easy, bud. Train your own personal account because you just can't swing trade with Apex. No, you can't really, can you? Yeah, I mean, the simple answer is if someone put a gun to my head and said, if you blow this account, you're a goner, but you can risk as small as you like, what would be the simple answer to do? Would be to go to trade a micro. You're not going to trade in 2 micros. You're not going to blow an account. I mean, I wonder how long it would take you to build up. The trouble is trading max, it's very hard to get more than one setup a day. And the trouble is, if you're earning $20 a day, that's $100 a week. 10 weeks, it's $1,000. You know what I mean? Are you going to be able to build up quick enough, or is it going to take you years? That's the thing, really. If you average, say, 5 points profit a week, that's say $100 a week. Trading micro, I don't know. It's something to sit down and have a think about, maybe, isn't it? I know they say, things build up, but the trouble is because you're risking so little, you take poorer quality trades because you're not, sometimes a certain amount of risk keeps you taking better trades. If you're only risking $1, Christ, you're going to be jumping in left, right and centre, aren't you? So I think it's finding a balance, but the trouble is it's building enough money to be able to make money from trading. If you've got $2,000 in your bank, you're not going to be able to make enough to live off. Rhythmic says my trading count today was 130. How's it been there, done that? Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea to use your profit from this to fund your own account, and then maybe, I don't know, if you can put $5,000 in your own account and then just trade one contract, theoretically you're only risking about 3%, aren't you? I mean, what's at the moment? On average bar at the moment, tick above, tick below is 2.5 points. So if you've got $5,000, 10% is $500, 5% is $250. If you trade in one account, $125, yeah, you trade about 2.5%. So it's probably a good idea to use maybe, say, $5,000 of payments to start your own personal account and just trade one contract, and then try and make some money. If a loss affects you, you are probably over leveraging. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? If you risk $10 on a football game, you'll happily go out for a beer with your mates and find out what happened later. But if you risk $200 or $300, you wouldn't be out with your mates. You'd be glued to the TV, worrying about how much you were going to potentially lose. Let me have 3 accounts. Open a few more with another broker. I think it's a good idea to use some of this to fund your own account. I would say $5,000 and risk one contract. You're risking around about 2.5% to 3%. Maybe if it's a big bar, 3.5%. But just allow that to build slowly to get to the stage where you can it's eventually large enough to be able to take money out of. But I think ultimately you've got to be super disciplined, and I think it takes time. I hear lots of people say you need to lose enough times for your mind to just go, I can't do this anymore, and something changes. I've tend to heard that such a lot, so it's hard to know what's going on here. I thought there might be a high there, but I mean we're clearly struggling to get over here, so I don't really want to go long into that. Do you have a time limit on how long you will give a trade before you decide, or is it easier way to earn a living? I think it's a case of I died trying. So I've always been the same. If I've wanted something, I've always got it some way, somehow. I'm pretty resourceful, but I am a bit stubborn. So I work weekends and I work Saturday, Sunday, and I do hours on Saturday, Sunday. That brings me about £500 a week in. And I make some from affiliates, so it pays me a wage. Yeah, I'd never let something beat me, put it that way. I'll die trying rather than give up. There are times where I've considered giving up, but then when I calm down a day or so later, I'm usually all right. That's true for most of us. Yeah, if I'd have given up, I'd have given up a long time ago, but there's no way I'm going to go through all this hell and not get some success in it. You know, everything I've ever read, it says if you work hard and you persist, and it's common sense to me, it's the emotional side of trading, but those emotions can't possibly affect you in the same way month in, month out, year in, year out. It will get to the stage. Now, when I started trading evaluations, they scared the shit out of me. I don't even bat an eyelid with an evaluation now. If I take a loss with an evaluation, it doesn't bother me. The only way I blow evaluations sometimes is trying to pass them a bit quicker because they're cheap. But it doesn't affect me. But I remember sitting in this chair feeling like my neck was in a vice when I was, trading an evaluation. But because I'm used to it now and I've done it so long, it doesn't have that same effect. And at some point, it's going to have less of an effect, trading PAs. Because when you think about it, really, you've got a $2,500. You're not risking $2,500. All you're doing is risking $140 for your PA and say 30 for. So your risk in that account is really only $175. I missed the opportunity. Double bottom. And then Q GMT 230 GMT on the NQ. Oh, that one there. Channel break. Yeah. Yeah. There's a high low there as well. That probably wouldn't have been the bad one to take, would it? Channel down with a break. And a new low buy tick or two. Well, probably about 6 ticks now in the NQ. It's such a lot of ticks, isn't there? When you zoom in. It's just hard to trade here, really. There's not a huge amount of volume today. It's pretty low. Whether that's got something to do with the news tomorrow, I don't know. So we got this leg up. One attempt to go lower. Second attempt to go lower. See if we can get one leg down, 2 legs down and work up. My slight issue about going long is we do seem to have some resistance across this top here. So whether that would stop it from going up, I don't know, because there is always a possibility that we're ranging on this. It doesn't kind of look like it at the moment, but it could be. It's hard to say at the moment. We've got a leg up and a leg up, so it could push higher, it could stay where it is. It's just so hard to say at the moment. It's not very clear. There's not a lot of volume. It's not doing a lot. It's a little bit choppy. I mean, you could say we've had this channel up. We've had a break and we've made a new high. We've made 2 further attempts, well, maybe a few more attempts to go higher. So sometimes it'll just come back, won't it? And maybe get another setup before people. I mean, if you want to go long there, it's probably not the best place to do it here. You really want it to get back here a little bit So it could come back here, encourage some more buyers and push up for another leg, or it could just come down. It's not really giving us much. But I think ultimately, if you take a loss or a couple of losses, whatever you set yourself, if you can manage to get away from that screen for the day and come back fresh tomorrow, the chance of you being successful with this really, in my opinion, jumps up tenfold. You know, I tend to trade on average around about 85% going for 2 points, which is more than enough to make money. But if you can't walk away after a loss and it affects you, you're never going to make money. So I'm really focusing hard on trying to get away from this screen. I'm focusing on the psychological side. I have been through the psychological side, but I've spent so much time, you know, focusing on the technical side of it and not thinking about that. Because in the cold light of day, you say, yeah, I'm definitely walking away. But when those emotions kick in, you know, it's... see, there is a possibility of a slightly wider channel which would fit along the top. But the trouble is, if you get it wrong and it triggers you and comes down, you're kind of buggered, really. I mean, that would be a second entry long. We've come back to this 3 times. It might be a small risk. It's hard to say. See how it finishes.
Order submitted.
It's not such a big risk. Not much room left at the tops. That's a big risk, that is. Yeah, I'm not risking that much.
Order cancelled.
I mean, if it does continue up and comes back, then I'd say, yeah, it's probably going to work. But successfully tailor your strategy to your personality, it becomes much easier and a lot less stressful. Just might it now. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, we're quickly above this, so I don't think it was a bad entry, but it's 13 ticks, tick above, tick below. It's over a 3-point risk. I'm 1 trade away for a payment on mine, so I'm not taking a daft, a daft amount of risk. I mean, we have struggled to get above here, so there is a possibility it could trigger a bunch and then come down and close below. I put that channel there, but it's an educated guess. There's no guarantees, is there? And I'm not 100% sure. I kind of like, you know, I stick to what I said here. We had a push up, and it looks like we've made 2 clear attempts to go low and retest these, and now we're pushing up. So I think the chance of getting up to these levels to where I put that or this measured leg, I think is pretty good. But it's quite a big risk. And I want to just, I mean, really, it's like a 3-point risk there. The ATR is about 2, so it's a little bit more than normal. So I'd rather just sit tight and just wait for something a little bit less risk and maybe a little bit safer. Not only that, going along into there, if that triggered, came down, and I posted that, why did that not work? The simple answer would be is I went along into support. As much as I think there's a good chance we're going up, but it's, you know, it's an educated guess. I want a 95% reason to go long, not an educated guess. And if this is a channel, there is a possibility could come back here and give me something maybe a little bit better and less risk. I think preparing yourself for your trading day is a good idea as well. Trader buddy I chat to sent me this. He linked together a bunch of sort of, what's the word? Arty. He linked together a bunch of sort of, what do you call them? Yeah, it's gone blank. Trader affirmations, that sort of thing. And I started listening to those, but I didn't carry on. Okay, so that was good for 2 points anyway. The trouble is, it was an educated guess that that's where it was going to bounce. That was one as well. So we've had a break. We may not have pushed up. So that was, it did exactly the same, bounce twice there, and it never came back to there. So that actually fits kind of nice there. So it worked for 2 points, but it's just a bit too much risk for my liking at the moment. Market's choppy, and there are traps around, and so it does look like a leg and a leg with 2 legs back. So leg up, 2 attempts to go lower, and it didn't. We pushed up, we came back and had one more retest. We never got to the top, and then off we trot. So that theory about that was correct. I pay attention to the way the penguin guy talks, and he covers such a lot of this. Leg up, 2 attempts to go lower. It did exactly that. That measured legs played out nice. That's basically where it was anyway. It's basically 2 legs off here, from there to there, and from there to there. So it's done what I expected it to do. The trouble is, if you haven't got an entry, what can you do? And that was just a bit too risky going into there. Unfortunately, what can you do? Okay, run up to the tops. Okay, channel break, new high. So that measured leg really is played out. Quick question there, Chris. Chris James. That question you asked me, do you have a time limit? Did you have a time limit, or just want to know what your opinion on that? Do you think you should have a time limit, or what? Did you have a time limit, or did you just keep going and keep going and keep going? I've only been trading coming up 3.5 years, so it's not a great deal of time, really, is it? Maybe a lower high there, but as we're sort of more like in an uptrend, really. Sometimes I don't mind taking those if we're in a range, but I don't know what this NQ is doing. We've come back to the EMA and started pushing up again, so I don't really want to go short here. So, I mean, it has played out and it has come back down, but as we've pushed above this, you don't know whether we're going to bounce off this and push higher, so Okay, so let's have a look. There is a bull bar there which is bounced off, but it's triggered and it looks like it's coming down. Trouble is, if we have the same there, it's not far to the EMA. So unless I get a couple of points, I won't even attempt it, because it's also a bit congested here, so you just don't know what it's going to do. Might decide to go higher, it's hard to say, but what I will say is it is fitting nice in that channel. Well, certainly the top of it is anyway. Touching, close enough. I don't think it's an overshoot. It's like watching paint dry, isn't it? A bit less interesting. It's hard to say what the hell's going on here, whether we're going to come down and continue on, or we could just bounce off with Could bounce off this area and come round. It just doesn't give us nothing. Breaks the hourly highs. Does look like it's struggling to get up now. So whether, I don't know, it could just be struggling to push higher than this. It's hard to say. I got no idea what's going on. I really haven't. It's clearly sort of in more like sideways today, with the exception, you know, I mean, where we opened is where we are now, really. So we had 2 legs down, a push up. I kind of had a feel it was going to do that. But then when we get up here, I don't know, we're going to range, we're going to come back down, or we're going to go up. It's your guess is as good as mine, really. There kind of was a second entry long, but I just didn't like that bar. And you don't know whether it's going to come down a little bit further. How's Moo got on today? Anybody know? I'm impressed. He hasn't taken a trade. He's definitely taking less trades. I think that's a good thing. How's Sam doing? Oh, Sam's finished. How's he got on today? Let's have a look. Not an easy day, I got to say. Some days I got all the patience in the world for these days, and then other times I just seem to want to take a stupid trade. Okay, so Sam took a trade. Where was it? That one there. Was it? Yeah, that one there he took. Failure. Good on you, Sam. One trade, one winner. That's what you want. Actually, I think that was a pretty good trade as well. The fact that we had a kind of a second entry long and it triggered that and came down is a little bit choppy, but I think that was a bad trade actually. Clearly did what it was supposed to. Sam, Five Trader, his name is Five Trader. He trades a bit. I don't think he normally trades until around about 4:30 or 5:30, 4:30 UK time because he works full time. But sometimes if he's not at work, he'll trade normal time. So a leg and a leg. A little green on my peers today, but I won't risk any more today. Good on you, by the way. 400 tick chart seems to work better for me. 400 tick chart on the NQ, that is here. Say we seem to be in this channel. Might be an option to take that. I never tend to take this first one because if you're going to get trapped, that's where it's going to happen. I'd rather wait for a higher low because you just never know. Is there a bigger channel there? It's hard to say. So I tend to not take that one. There does seem to be a couple of legs, but I tend to wait for the higher low. I don't know whether there's a channel there. I don't know, to be honest with you. But if it's going to get you, it's going to happen on the first bar. NQ is an uptrend since a low. Some deep pullbacks, but every pullback has worked. Remind me again, Bud, what time frame you're trading? Were you trading the 400 or were you trading something larger? See, the bottom isn't really even confirmed there. We got a touch once. I consider that sort of a one touch. 2 minutes. Okay, I had the 2 minute on here actually earlier on. 2 minutes. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, so you're on about that then, aren't you, really? Never traded actual minutes. Well, when I first started learning to trade, I traded the hourly and the 4 hourly chart when I was learning to trade crypto. But I've always used the 2000 tick chart. I think about 2 years ago, something happened. I don't know whether it was the back end of lockdown, but prices were way more volatile, and Max suggested trading the 3000 tick chart, which I did for a while. So if you'd have taken that one, you're in this trade at the moment. I mean, it's kind of a couple of legs, but who knows? I just can't take that at the moment. It might trigger you, come down and stop you out. We may get a little break. It's hard to say. I got no idea, to be honest with you. Sometimes the quicker it moves, the better the flow and the better the idea. You think where you're going, but I couldn't just take that if I wanted to. So hard going again today. Trouble is, because we've come up to this level here, you don't know whether we're going to struggle to get up. We don't know whether we're going to smash straight through it. That to me looks like a little channel. We could break, trap some longs and come down and make a new low. So Same again with this looking like a channel. I can't go along there. I want to give that chance to come down because there is a possibility it's just a bigger range down. We could turn at these levels. So let's see, you've got a big bullish bar there which is triggered. It could come down now and break these lows, so it could be a channel. I don't know how many times I've gone into trades like that thinking we're pushing up and it triggers you, comes down and stops you out. Turns out there's a trade there, a channel there. Equally, I can't go short there thinking there's a channel there. We'll come down low because of the uptrend. So I'm sort of in a little bit in limbo land here. But the way that's triggered and this is coming down, I wouldn't be shocked if that comes down and makes a new low or matching low with that. I could be completely wrong, but whenever we get what looks like a channel, I always like to give it a break and come down, especially when we've had two legs that have already played out and we've already come up to meet some support up here, or resistance, whatever you want to call it. So I would expect that to come down. Okay, come on down now. Time to come down. Trigger that bull bar and then come down. So channel down, 2 attempts to go higher. Bearish bar, come down. Another tough day at the office again. Really hard today. It's very little volume, really. I mean, it's very little. How long have I been knocking on 3 hours? Sometimes when I have 3 hours, I struggle to open them up to get a decent photo. I can see exactly what's happened there. I like the fact that that bullish bar's triggered. Channel down, 2 attempts to go higher. I'd like to see that come down now. Come on, drop quickly. I can't read this thing today. Some days it's really predictable. Other times you just haven't got a clue what's flipping going on, whether it's going to go higher, whether it's going to go lower. Take the trade at the top of the channel. Channel, 2 attempts go higher. Okay, maybe that's it. So if you took that bullish one there, come on, rush down. Yeah, I like the way it triggered that by 2 ticks or 3 ticks, whatever it is. Channel down, 2 attempts. Come on, come down. I like it to do what I think it's going to do because it tells me I'm working out what's going on. I expected a quick drop. Another reason I think it's going to go down, just browsing on this 2-minute chart here. We've come to the top, come to the bottom, come to the top, come to the bottom, come to the top. We've struggled to get down. So we're having another attempt. So I expect that to come down pretty rapid to this level. And certainly take out any maybe stops there. I could be completely wrong. Sometimes you can predict the chart and it doesn't half help you make better trades, but other times you just don't know what's going on. It doesn't do what you think it's going to do. Come on, drop. Yeah, it's a big meanie. You're not wrong, mate. You know, some days it's really predictable and you just know where it's going to go. Other times it just keeps constantly throwing you. Well, I know Max described it to me as it's like having multiple personalities. Some days you're out with someone who you just know what they're going to say next. Other days it's almost like you're out with a complete stranger. You are kidding me. Bitcoin under 10 grand? No, you are joking. Oh, drop by 10. Oh, shit your pants then. Don't do that, John. Bitcoin flash trap under 10 grand only. So you mean it's pushing back up now? Yeah, it dropped by 10 grand. I thought you meant down to 10 grand. I was thinking, no, surely not. I did buy some Shiryu earlier on and some Solana. Every time Solana takes a bit of a dump, it pushes back up. So I bought Solana, I think it was $1.85? No, it was lower than that. It was $1.75, I think. $1.70, somewhere around about that. $1.71, $1.75. So sorry, $1.175. It's up to 184 now. So it seems to recover really quickly, Solana, at the moment. And I bought some Shiryu, Shibinu. I bought that at 24.5, just under 25. That's up to 27 nearly now. So I tend to do that now whenever we see a bit of bloodbath and maybe as 15%. Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, did it really? So obviously there was a massive whale dumping that money. I mean, that's a huge amount to dump that down like that. So imagine if you'd have had so I wonder if you'd have had an order, would it picked it up or would it move too quick? But God, imagine that, having an order down there for $10,000 for one Bitcoin. How nice would that be? You would make about 700. Take the short. Yeah, I can't do that, bud. As much as I believe it might work, I can't take a short at the moment because we're moving up. It may trigger. You might be completely right. Well, what I'm seeing here, I expect a quick push down, but I can't take shorts based on someone just saying take a short. I think you're probably right. I expect this to come down a bit more, but I'm one trade away from a payment. So if I took someone's advice and it went against me, I'll be an idiot. But is it a double top? Sort of, kind of. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's coming down, but how far, I don't know. Unless he's got real problems in the bedroom department, that is, isn't he? Yes, if I'd have gone short there, that would have triggered me, and by the looks of things, stopped me out. And I've just adjusted that tightly. It kind of fits really nice there. So the trouble is, at the moment, we do seem to be working up. Now, whether that's going to continue or not, who knows? But if I'd have taken that lower high and it triggered me, and I'm seeing that now, it's a matter of time before it stops me out. There's no way that's going to come back up and not take my stop out there. I mean, there's always a possibility, but yeah, there we go. So if I'd have taken a short there, it would have triggered me and take me straight out for, what, 12, 11, 3 points. So it's the trouble is, I mean, I don't know whether someone's been trading for 2 minutes or 20 years. You just don't know. And that big, strong push from here, I wouldn't necessarily call it a double top. It's one side than the other. So a double top for me would be more sort of, when they... So, well, there you go. See, it's triggered any possible short there and shot up. So even if you'd had your stop up here or here, you'd have been eaten out. And off it goes. I'm getting much better at staying out of these. I don't like the look of it. I expected that to come down. I expected it to come down a bit further. Sort of a leg down and a leg down. We didn't get above those highs, so I was hoping it would come down to here and maybe give us a triple test before we pull up, before we push up. But So yeah, I think Sania is another trader. Now Sania had been trading for quite a few years, quite a lot of years, and he knew what he was doing. And the trouble is, he was predicting these trades, and I was marking them out, and he was right about 8 or 9 times in a row or something like that. So a few days later, he said short here. So I thought, this was 7 or 8 months ago. So I was and I took a short, and it went up, and I moved my stop, and it went up, and he was going, hold, it's coming down. So I kept moving my stop, and I ended up flipping. I was on an evaluation anyway, but I ended up losing money. So the trouble is, if there's someone in the room that says go long or go short, you can't. You have to follow your own rules because you never quite know. The best traders in the world will tell you, everyone will lose sometimes. The best traders in the world lose trades. So, I mean, look at that. It's done the complete opposite. So if you're shorted there, even if you had your stop above here, you're out of the game. You remember that day, yeah. Every trade he was right, and I was thinking, man, this guy knows what he's doing. So I think I ended up listening to him and taking a trade. And I moved my stop a bit because he seemed that convinced it was coming down, and it just kept going up. And I ended up, it was an evaluation, so the damage was minimal. But I mean, don't get me wrong. From what I know of Sandy, he's an experienced trader and he knows what he's doing. But the trouble is, everybody loses, and so, see, the trouble is when, I get why people think you may want to short here, but the trouble is you never quite know. Sometimes when you think this market can't go any higher, up it goes, and it's got a funny way of just making you feel humble. It really has. So we blasted through the overnight highs, but it actually fits really nice in that, and it's quite steep. Considering how wide it is, it's quite steep, which tells me it's strong. I mean, look at that. It's pushing up nice and strong. So we're coming up to these, well, we're still a ways away yet, but yeah, where's it going to end? Is it going to continue up? I don't know. Who knows? I mean, see that for me now, that big bar there has confirmed that channel. And in all fairness, it looks, they don't look any better than that channels, do they? I mean, it's fitting absolutely perfectly. You done, are you, Indy? Yeah, you take it easy, buddy. When that finished and turned that one, trouble is we're so close to the highs as well. So you just don't know. What the hell is that? Oh. I mean, if you took a trade there, you wouldn't get a point if you're out for those out before the highs. So it's just something else I couldn't take. It's a fair old risk in all fairness. It's like a 4 1/4 point risk, that bar. So perfect uptrend. It doesn't look any nicer than that, does it, mate, to be honest with you? I mean, that would have worked beautifully. But very close to these highs. Mac always teaches us, whenever you want to get out before these highs. Not that it won't push up, or it might do, but See, I was trading a couple of weeks ago. I was really strict, and I was averaging a trade a day. My win rate over those couple of weeks went well into the 90%. But you know, you've really got to keep your discipline and patience. And then sometimes you're having a day or so without a trade at all. And if you don't keep your discipline and your patience, you end up getting stung. And I think that's what happened with me. Because I was getting account close to payments. I sort of, I went for a riskier trade. I knew I was doing it. I shouldn't have done it. I should have just waited. But it just goes to show, if you follow your own rules and you stick to those, the best of the best trades, you get such a high win rate and such a lot less losses. You were intimidated to take that long? Yeah, I was a bit as well, mate. I mean, it's a 4.25 point risk. The ATR is just over 2 points, so it was larger than normal. And, you know, Mac always teaches us, make sure you get out before those highs. And if you'd have gone a tick above there, there's a point. And you've got to push through. So you wouldn't even got a point out there. And it's just, you just don't know whether it's starting to go sideways. And not only that, we're at these highs. We had this little bit of sideways. We broke out and then pulled back really strong. So you just don't know. Those two measured legs are beautifully played out. So you don't know whether it's just going to make one attempt to go higher, a second attempt to go higher and come down. And that after that first attempt, the second attempt, you don't know whether it's going to trigger you and then come down. You know, sometimes you've just got to trust your trades, I suppose. But, you know, I'm trying to bring in a rule that I need to just be careful how much I'm risking. And to get 3/4 of a point to a point for a 4.25 point risk, it's just not something I want to do. I've just got to, you know, I like to try and minimise my loss if I can. Keep it below sort of maybe 3.25, 3.5 points, but 4.25 is just too much. You don't know it's going to do that, and if we did, obviously, you know, you would move up. So there is some resistance up here, so whether it will struggle a bit, I mean, that does. It's fitting that nice now. That for me is an overshoot. It's also a triple top. So I'd expect now to pull back significantly. Oh, Les, you couldn't even get in that on a limit order if you wanted to. You probably, I mean, you may have even missed it. If you'd have dropped it in there, it started pushing straight up. It came back a bit, but you can't take it there. It's just way too high. It's well over 5 points there. So even if you wanted to try and get in a bit lower on a limit order, you didn't have a hope. And the fact that it pushed off right from there, I think, was a good indicator that was going to work. It's just too close to the highs, and the bar was a little bit too big for me. Yeah, you have to take those signal bars into your decision making. I mean, sometimes if the setup's brilliant, I don't tend to worry too much about it. But I took what I thought was a great trade the other day, and for some reason, it went up and it triggered above a bull bar and came down really quickly, and I jumped in the trade only to be 6.5 point risk. Now, it worked perfectly, but it's a massive risk. Your chart reading is spot on. It's not so good today, I think, because it's been hard to read a bit today at times. Sometimes it's really easy to read. It kind of looks clean now, but yes, Trader, how you doing, buddy? Hello to you. What's good today? It's been a funny old day. There's not a lot of volume today. Whether it's anything to do with I think it's FOMC tomorrow. Whether it's to do with that, there's just not a massive amount of volume really. Up until we started to push up in this channel, it was just looking a bit, if and miss, hit and miss. What do you do? That kind of looked rangy, but I don't think it was. For me, it looked like a leg with 1-2 attempts to go lower. And the way we pushed 3/4 of the way up, came back, didn't quite get to the bottom, and then started to push. Look at that one, PA. You are so close. Don't remind me. That's why I'm being extra careful. I mean, the thing is, if I get it in for today, I could apply for it tomorrow. No, you're right, but I'm only kidding. If I get it in today, I can apply it for tomorrow. But I've done that before. Try to squeeze a trade because I had a PA a couple of months ago, and I tried to squeeze a trade, and I needed 6 ticks, and it bounced 4 or 5 times off that tick. And it came down and took me out, and I was about 150 short, and I came back and tried to trade again, and I squeezed it, and I ended up blowing the account. So, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if it hits the level, I'll just stop trading it. And but yeah, I'm trying to keep that in mind. That I lost 2 more PAs close to that. Yeah, it's frustrating really, because if you just kept your nerve and kept your patience, you'd push over the line. And I think every time you get over the line with a PA, it starts to get a bit easier and a bit easier. I had 5 payments last year, but I've had nothing yet this year. I got very close on 2 of them. But trouble is, when you blow accounts that are very close, for the next month or couple of weeks, I think sometimes you can just be frustrated and trading a bit angry. It's getting, yeah, absolutely, yeah. The opportunity shows up soon, you lose your mind, yeah. I mean, I considered that one. My only slight concern with that is I like the fact that it triggered that bear bar and went up the lower high. Maybe, in fact, thinking about that, it probably wasn't a bad trade at all. It was just it was 4.25 points, tick above, tick below, which is, that's like $450 with fees I'd have lost out of that one account. So I'd rather wait for something a little bit less risky. But what I will say is there's probably going to be traders short in there. We've made 1 attempt to go higher, 2nd attempt to go higher, and there was a lower high there, and it triggered and pushed up. I suppose you could have took that on the engulfing, really. If there is a call for taking a trade on engulfing, that would probably be it. Because after being up here twice, even was it someone said short up here, double top. So if you would have shorted there, it trigger just stopped you out. So maybe that's a good. But the trouble is, we're literally a point away from the highs, so you need that extra point to tick. You have won at 5 days in. Yeah, you've just got to keep your nerve, because there's nothing worse than getting so close and end up squeezing a trade that a little bit risky. I mean, we've all done it and we all do it. But it is frustrating then when you lose, because you're so close to getting payments. So technically that money it's so close you can almost smell it. And it's nice to make some money, because it's just nice to have some more money to invest, rather than every time is a payment it comes out of your bank. Just want to stay cool. Absolutely. I mean, if you get it in today, you can apply for it tomorrow. But the trouble is, if you don't get a setup, you're taking a big risk. And if it goes against you, the trade, you're going to punish yourself for it. And end up doing something stupid. I know, because I've done it so many times. So I just have to try and, losing 4K. Yeah, it is. I had 4 accounts with $2,200 in each, and I lost them all because I was trying to squeeze a trade. So I lost about $8,500 in one day. And I got to say, that brought tears to my eyes, I got to say. It's painful, but the trouble is, every time you feel this pain, I think your mind gets more and more fed up, and I think you get closer to not doing it. I've had quite a few longer term traders saying you'll trade like that until you get that pissed off for losing, and that frustrated and angry with all the pain, you just start to stop. And then when you actually then start to follow the rules, you get this big aha moment that thinks, why didn't I do that before? When we know we should have done. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Just thinking back a year and a half ago, a year or so ago, when I used to trade on an evaluation, they used to scare me shitless. I remember sitting there and I felt like someone had their hands around my neck. I felt that stiff just from looking at it and open and that. But after a while, they don't bat an eyelid trading that now. And same with trading. I got to the stage maybe 6 months ago where I was scared to take a trade. So I went from I went from being careless to being too cautious. But I think it's part of it. And then I think at some point you seem to find some balance, and that's where you start to get a bit of success. But I still have this issue with taking a loss. So I'm really trying to force myself just to walk away. Did you lose the account due to prop firm rules or dumb mistake? I tend to lose because of the rules. With only tending to go for 2 points, I never really have an issue with drawdown, but I know a lot of you guys, you may get in here and you may hold for so many points. And if the market goes up 8 points and comes back and takes you out, or takes you out for 2 points profit, you're down 6. And if you're trading 2 contracts, your drawdowns come against you. So if you're swing trading, drawdown's a problem. If you're scalping for anywhere from 1 point to 2 points, it's never an issue, really. The only times I've had an issue is when I've revenge traded and I'm clearly going for more points and higher contracts. And I think I can probably honestly say to myself, I've never lost a PA account from trading properly. It's always when I've ended up taking a loss, or I've tried to squeeze something, or I've tried to get away with something and bend the rules a bit. But you won't do that forever. You won't keep bending the rules and keep hurting yourself. Sooner or later, your brain will say, oh, I've had enough of this. I can't keep doing this. Because it's painful. Causing your mind is like your body. It can adapt and overcome. You start walking outside all day long with bare feet. By the end of the week, your feet are going to be cut to shreds. 3 months later, you'd be like Tarzan, walking around with pads on your feet. Your body can adapt and so can your mind. It's amazing what people can do. You see, and I've said before, you see these young 16-year-old lads in the UK, well, all over the world, joining the army, long hair, they can't get out of bed. They've just got no self-discipline, and 8-9 months in the military. It's amazing how focused and you can turn a young lad into a fighting fit soldier, mentally focused. It's surprising how powerful that mind is. But while we haven't got no drill sergeants looking at us trading, shouting and screaming at us, it takes a little bit longer. But yeah, it does. You do get closer each time. I find that when I get my next payout it does seem to... Getting that first one is tough, and I find sometimes when you lose your account, then you struggle for a bit, and then you may get a couple more, and then you might struggle for a bit. And I do think you are constantly improving, but it just does take time. And while the market's like this, so slow, it is frustrating. There is an overshoot. There was an overshoot there. Sometimes it'll then push up, make a new high, and then drop. So I got no idea what's going on today. And I keep saying I'm going to not squeeze a trade anymore and take my time, but sometimes, you seem to have a moment of lapse of judgment, and before you know it, you're in trouble again. So I'm trying to focus on a lot of psychology at the moment, trying to get myself mentally prepared for trading. I think prop firm rules are great. Yeah, I don't have a problem with them. I don't have a problem. I think some of the swing traders do. They go for bigger moves. But I think you just need to save those bigger moves till you get over $2,600. That drawdown stops. There's another thing I learned a couple of days ago. You think when you got a PA account, your drawdown stops at $5,100. It doesn't. It doesn't stop at $5,100 until you hit $2,600. It can come up higher. I didn't realise that. An account I blew last week still had $580 in it above 50,000. So I emailed him and said, how could I have lost my account? The account's still, 550 in balance. And he said, because you haven't hit the $2,600, it doesn't stop at 5,100. I never knew that. But no, it is a journey, and it's a journey. You can guide someone, but ultimately it's a journey you just have to experience yourself. There's no really easy way. Some people find it easier than others. Some people who are mega disciplined in life anyway. But it is a real journey, and it's something, if you get to the end of that journey and start to become consistent, you've damn well earned it, I think. But I would just love to be able to take a trade and relax like I do when I'm on an evaluation. I just take it and let it go. If it works, it works. My job is to find an entry and to take it. Whether you win or lose is kind of a byproduct, but the important bit is to sit patiently until you take a trade. Take it, commit, and then move on either way. Which is easier said than done, really. So, today the only trade I think I've seen, Sam took that one actually. I don't think that's a bad call there because it's trapping some longs. So Sam took that for 2 points. So the trouble is, after that little channel with a break, I get a bit nervous about that it's going to push up, because at the moment it kind of looks sideways, but it might not necessarily work like a range at the moment and push down. And it's a bit choppy, but I can see through that, why he took that. The only other one I think was a good setup, I think, was that one. It confirmed that channel. Now, some may take that, and obviously some traders did because it pushed up strongly, but for me, it was a bit too close to the tops and a bit bigger a risk I wanted to take. Just with the way my accounts are at the moment. So we had an overshoot over here. I don't know, there's nothing I can see here really. This is when I sort of started trading. There's not a lot I can see through there. You may have taken that one, but the trouble is I put my channel from there to there, but I'm guessing that's where it's going to bounce. The trouble is I initially had it from there guessing that's where it's going to bounce, and it didn't. So you never quite know where your channel's going to bounce until it's probably confirmed it's a channel, and when that trapped that short and pushed up, I think the better option would be to take that on an engulfing bar. Your risk would have been a little bit less then, and you'd have got out before the top. If you'd have took it there, you'd have got out for a point or something, but Snore day, blue collar, yeah, it is a bit, mate. I don't know whether it's me or we do seem to be getting more and more of these days where it just doesn't seem to do a great deal. Yeah, we got 3 more trading days. I'd have liked to get a trade today just to secure that payment, but enough times I've taken a stupid trade, so I'm not going to do that this time. I want to be extra cautious. I mean, one trade is if you take your time, wait for a good setup. All I want is 8 ticks. It's a doddle, really. As long as I'm prepared to wait for that obvious setup, then chances are that, chances are that'll turn into a payday. I'd rather it turn into a payday 2 weeks later and take a decent setup rather than lose it. Because if I squeeze a trade, chances are it's going to make me angry and frustrate myself, and I'm going to end up going. I'll end up going to self-sacrifice mode. So it is an overshoot, but sometimes we'll just go into a tight channel. Well, I could sit here a bit longer, but the trouble is, the longer you've been sat here, you do get tired doing this because, you know, all this focus and concentration and the emotions, it does sort of wear, you know, usually after 3 hours I'm knackered. I'm impressed with Moo Moo today. Didn't take a trade. That's solid, that is. He seemed to be, going back a few weeks, he was taking 5 or 6 trades a day and losing half of them. At least he's trying to find some, which I think is encouraging. I don't like to see anybody do bad, really. I know how painful it is. Sometimes if I watch some of the other streamers, I usually watch anybody who's traded for the day, and you see him taking a few losses, and you can sort of, you can hear the frustration in their voice. Yeah, it's a very, very low volume for the day. Let's leave that like that for now. By channel break, 2 pushes up to a new high. Okay, just looking at this 2-minute chart on the NQ, we're coming up to this level, so we may get a decent, I mean, that to me is an overshoot, so I expect we could get a swift move back down there. We did there after we pushed up back. Yeah, we're up to these highs. Is that matching highs? I think we might have broken that by a tick. I mean, this looks more of just a range day, actually, on the NQ, doesn't it? Let's just get rid of these, tidy this up a bit. Yeah, we got the channel overshoot. We've bounced off this top, so I think there's a fair chance this could come down. Trouble is, sometimes it will come down, give you a lower high, trap you, push up, make a new high, and drop like a stone. So I always tend to just stay out of it, really, when this happens, because it can do multiple things, overshoots, as we know. You don't know whether it's going to correct and continue up. You don't know whether it's going to just come straight down, have a break and new low. You don't know whether it's going to come back a bit, push up, make a new high, and then drop. Okay, I'm going to knock it on the head today. I'm getting tired. It's just a bit boring, isn't it? Sometimes when you get a bit bored, it's doing nothing. Sometimes you're at your most vulnerable. But yeah, very little volume today. No trades. You're welcome, Chris. Anytime, my friend. If you're carrying on trading, I hope you get a setup. It's just hard to know what's going on at the moment, so I don't want to. If I sit here any longer, I may end up doing something regrettable and taking a poorer trade. So it's boring as hell, and when it's boring as hell, sometimes you end up getting a bit vulnerable. It's clearly an overshoot to me, but what's going to happen? Are we just going to have a correction, or are we just going to continue? You don't know, really. It's hard to say. So look, if you're carrying on anyway, I hope you get a setup. Failing that, I appreciate all the comments. I know it's a bit of a boring day, but it happens sometimes. But have a great rest of the day anyway. Stay safe, and I'll be back again tomorrow, and hopefully push this one account over the line in a safe and controlled manner, hopefully. So take it easy, have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.